Those who say that the past year has been difficult have not been in my skin. In addition to all the general troubles, fate came upon me, evil and merciless. It had nothing to do with illness or the death of loved ones. My wife made my life fun. We met when we were both well into our mid-20s. We were two fully grown adults who liked each other and eventually decided to start a family. In our 15 years together, we had seen all sorts of things. It was hard on our souls that we didn't have children, but over time the excitement about it somehow faded. And now, when we both have already confidently passed the 5th decade, Leela suddenly went crazy. Under the New Year holidays last year, we both took a week's vacation and relaxed a bit. I blocked out the time for myself in advance, but my wife had to work up the nerve to tear herself away from the workplace. There's annual reports and other things to do, and we wanted to go to a warm place. The boss let Lila go. She was glad that her request had been granted. 12 years ago, I had approached an old acquaintance, asked nicely, returned the favor, and got Lila a job at a construction store as a bookkeeper. I decided not to tell her about it. The second time I accidentally approached an acquaintance was when we wanted to leave for the holidays. It was only a few days after New Year's Eve, and Leela stunned me with the news. I'm leaving you. I'm trying, and there's no payoff. Nothing. 15 years like a cage. No flight, no freedom, no inspiration. No romance. I've wasted so many years living for you. It's time to be myself, to live for myself. I couldn't answer. I stared at her in silence and sat on the coffee table, looking out into the hallway. The news had hit me so hard. At first, I didn't think about anything at all, and then I started analyzing her words. What did she mean by saying she lived for me? We both lived for each other, fulfilling wishes, making surprises, giving gifts, going to resorts. I never forbade Lila to go to cafes with her friends or attend corporate events. Never once forced her to do something she didn't want to do. Only in the evening I came out of shock, made myself a coffee, and moved from the table to the unmade bed. When common sense and judgment returned to me, I decided to make some inquiries. The first thing I did was call my friend from work and cautiously, from afar, started asking questions. He immediately understood what I meant and assured me that he didn't know about it until the last moment. She had always been an exemplary employee, responsible, cultured, serious. And then all of a sudden we started to notice that it was like she was flying, so happy. To be honest, we thought she was expecting a baby. I should say that about 6 months ago we had a guy working for us. He's about 30 years old, maybe even less. He worked for us for about 2 or 3 months. He worked hard at first, but then he stopped working altogether. His mother got sick or something, and a few days later he came back drunk. We kicked that longshoreman the hell out. He also borrowed money from our guys. Not much at all, but almost all of them. He's the kind of guy who talks a lot and does nothing. Praises himself as much as he can and then fails. I've met a lot of them too, I said to my friend. He's the one your Leela was with. And we only found out about it 2 days ago when he came to pick her up in his car. Picked her up from work like a queen, opened the door, handed her the handle, kissed her. We were speechless with surprise. I'm sorry it's bad news, but the truth is the truth. After the conversation, I received comprehensive answers about the facts, but I could not understand the reasons. Eventually, I stopped looking for excuses for my wife, and things quickly fell into place. If you do not dig into yourself, do not think that I did something to offend her, and take as an axiom the fact that she is a person with rottenness, then all the gaps will easily disappear. And so that I did not doubt much, Leela soon proved to me that my assumptions were correct. A month later, my wife appeared on the doorstep of our apartment with a demand to give her half of our joint savings. Since all the property was acquired during the marriage, I had no choice but to formalize the transfer of a certain amount to my wife through lawyers. At the same time, there was talk of divorce. Naturally, I did not hold back. We did everything humanly, but Leela's satisfied smile I will remember for a long time. I was already unwell, but my ex finished me off with the last shot. Honey, we need to sell the apartment. Half the money is mine, half is yours. Hurry up, please. I have plans. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to the apartment either. So I requested an appraiser's service, divided the resulting figure in half, and gave my ex the right amount. Needless to say, I didn't have that kind of money. I borrowed from many friends, and then I also had to decide to take out a loan. It was not an easy task, so I had to repeatedly meet with a bank employee in order to settle all the issues and get the right amount. When all the vicissitudes ended, I suddenly realized that I was alone with my problems and huge debts. In just 6 months, my life was completely turned upside down. But something strange, some unknown feeling made me hold on, try and not get discouraged. Time passed, and I felt that I had more or less moved away from this misfortune. I gradually paid off the loan and saw that things were moving. And one day, I gathered courage and invited a woman from the bank for coffee. And I can confidently say that it was one of the best decisions I ever made. We hit it off quickly, found common themes, and became quite close. She was widowed 7 years ago. Her son is in his 20s and quite independent, so we didn't hesitate long and started living together. And I was ready to forget everything and believe that I would never see Layla again, but she knows how to give surprises. On the eve of this new year, we heard a phone call. My new lover opened the door, and I heard a strange shriek and then a sigh in the hallway. Naturally, I went to see what was there. Outside the door, I saw Layla. She looked, to put it mildly, not so good. There was a kind of confusion added to it from the fact that she saw another woman in my, now only my house. Her eyes immediately filled with tears, and she ran downstairs without even waiting for the elevator. I wasn't going to catch up with her and comfort her. Why she thought she could come to me after all this, I don't understand. Did she think I'd take her in? Even if I was alone. I shrugged, closed the door, and put my arm around my new love's shoulders. Don't mind her. It's a greeting from the past that I don't think will happen again. I am at ease and comfortable with this woman. We both learn to appreciate and understand our partner, to cherish every minute. In addition, she helps me in many matters and even partially contributes to the payment of the loan, although I absolutely did not ask her to do so. In the hustle and bustle of New Year's Eve, I met with my acquaintance, the one who had arranged Layla's job at the time. We met in a shopping center, stopped to talk. Without waiting for my question, he started talking. This fruit, that one is still a lover, bought himself a car with her money, a nice suit, and lied that he got a job in a dusty job. He left every morning and came back in the evening. Layla was blooming and blossoming, and then suddenly there's news like this. The apartment is not his, but rented, beautiful, and expensive. All the gifts that he brought her, restaurants and resorts, all for her money and bought. And he was just riding around in acquaintances, engaged in some nonsense, and then also lost big. So all the remnants of the former luxury went to pay his debts. Word on the street is they took away his car too, or he gambled it away. There's no way to know for sure. And in the end, he found a new girlfriend with an apartment because they were kicked out of the old one, and Layla has not a penny behind her soul. She gave him everything. Stupid. And nowhere to live. She went to her mother. I had to quit my job. From the neighboring town to work is not to be missed. Like a grown-up woman, but fell for such a foolishness, sighed his friend. But she lived for herself, I summarized. What she wanted, she got. We said goodbye, and I went on to choose a gift for my favorite woman. Layla is in the past, and so are my problems. I won't let her ruin my life in the new year. It's just a pity that the money that lover skipped out on, I have many more months to pay back to the bank. But still, I am grateful to fate that I paid for such an experience with money, and not with the health or lives of people close to me.